Phil Mickelson has refrained from saying anything of importance publicly about the upstart SGL, although his role in the establishment of the circuit is considerably more substantial than has been previously recognized. Watch this video to the end to find out why LIV Golf's Phil Mickelson denied doing interviews months after apologizing for Saudi Arabia comments. Mickelson denies his words. In February, 4 months before he would formally join LIV Golf, six-time major winner Phil Mickelson apologized for irresponsible statements he made towards Saudi Arabia during a conversation with biographer Alan Shipnuck. As Mickelson and others prepare to participate in the LIV Golf Invitational, Jeddah in King Abdullah Economic City, Saudi Arabia, Lefty is denying not just that he ever uttered the statements, but ever spoke with the author. He claimed that he never granted an interview to Alan Shipnuck, the writer who revealed the golfer's explosive statements about Saudi Arabia that threatened to destroy LIV Golf. In February, Shipnuck shared an extract from his yet-to-be-published Mickelson book, Phil, the rip-roaring and unauthorized biography of golf's most colorful superstar, in which the golfer informed him that the Saudis were dangerous mother effers to be involved with. At the time, speculations were swirling that Mickelson may be one of the centerpieces of the Saudi-backed breakaway league. We know they killed Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi and have a horrible record on human rights. They execute people over there for being gay, Shipnuck said Mickelson told him. Knowing all of this, why should I even consider it? Because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to reshape how the PGA Tour operates. The Breakaway League is supported by the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia and has seen hundreds of noteworthy defectors depart the PGA Tour in 2022. Mickelson, who went on to secure a rumored $200 million agreement with LIV Golf in June, made a statement immediately after Shipnuck published the remarks. In it, the golfer apologized for his statements before stating he assumed his chat with Shipnuck was off the record and published without context. Although it doesn't look this way now given my recent comments, my actions throughout this process have always been with the best interest of my golf, my peers, sponsors, and fans, Mickelson said in his February statement. There is the problem of off-record comments being shared out of context and without my consent, but the bigger issue is that I used words I sincerely regret that do not reflect my true feelings or intentions. It was reckless. I offended people, and I'm deeply sorry for my choice of words. I'm beyond disappointed and will make every effort to self-reflect and learn from this. Even though nobody knows for sure what was stated in that supposed interview between Mickelson and Shipnuck back in February, the 52-year-old golfer simply maintained that his words were taken out of context. To hear him all-out deny that the interview ever happened is odd to say the least. Shipnuck fought back on Mickelson's assertions. Not once in our messages or when we got on the phone did Mickelson request to go off the record, and I never agreed to it, Shipnuck stated. Mickelson just phoned me up and opened a vein. To claim now that the statements were off the record is untrue and deceptive. Speaking in Saudi Arabia at the week's LIV Golf event in Jeddah, he was questioned about how he made certain statements against this nation, for which you've apologized, and whether he's altered his perspective about Saudi Arabia. The two-time PGA Championship champion flat-out denied giving the interview to Shipnuck. I never did an interview with Alan Shipnuck, he said, appearing to again suggest that their chat was supposed to be off the record. I find that my experience with everybody associated with LIV Golf has been nothing but incredibly positive, and I have the utmost respect for everybody that I've been involved with. Shipnuck replied to Mickelson's remarks by means of a series of tweets. Per Phil's statements in Saudi Arabia, that is typical Mickelsonian bullshittery, tweeted Shipnuck. He's playing semantics, as usual. In another tweet, Shipnuck said, clearly wasn't an interview, but I was asking him questions and he was delivering broad responses. Oh, and he phoned me. Shipnuck added, Mickelson never indicated any portion of the interview was off the record, and I never agreed to it. LIV Golf critics poke fun at Phil Mickelson over claims he never did Saudi interview. Professional golf talents Max Homa and Eddie Pepperell both resorted to social media to express their amazement when Phil Mickelson claimed he was never questioned by Alan Shipnuck. The golfers went to social media to respond when Phil Mickelson sensationally claimed he was never interviewed by Alan Shipnuck. The writer, whose unauthorized biography of the American includes dramatic and controversial statements regarding the Saudi monarchy. Shipnuck's unofficial biography on Mickelson was published at the PGA Championship earlier this year in May. Mickelson secluded himself from golf after his reported statements on the Saudi government came to light before he openly joined LIV Golf. The 52-year-old dismissed the country's human rights record. including the death of Washington Post reporter Jamal Khashoggi, as he declared he wanted leverage from the PGA Tour. The six-time major champion also labeled the Saudis scary mother effers and has since apologized for his comments. Mickelson almost missed the Masters for the first time since 1994. Fellow golf star Max Homa, who is totally committed to the PGA Tour, rushed to Twitter to show his joy at the astounding comments made by Mickelson ahead of LIV Golf Jeddah. Homa seemed to come up with a fresh new name for the Saudi-backed circuit managed by CEO Greg Norman. He tweeted, "LIV Tour? More like the Lit Tour, since these interview news dump days are straight fire." It was not only Homa that was impressed by Mickelson's press conference, as DP World Tour pro Eddie Pepperell also entered the debate on social media. Pepperell tweeted, "I don't even know what's true anymore. Truly." The lucrative LIV Golf Series is backed by Saudi Arabia's National Wealth Fund, and it is split golf, leaving the PGA and DP World Tours broken after the new series stole some of the sport's top players. Several of the world's most notable players have opted to convert to LIV Golf, including the likes of Mickelson, Brooks Koepka, and Dustin Johnson. LIV Golf chief details harm caused by Phil Mickelson's interview. LIV Golf was nearly finished before it started, as Phil Mickelson spooked other pros with his interview about their leaders, but the Saudi executives carried on with their plans anyhow. His interview had prospective PGA Tour rebels questioning their intentions. The period when Phil Mickelson had the interview came at the time when the new Rebel Series, being managed by former world number one Greg Norman, with the mega money sponsorship of Saudi-backed corporation LIV Golf Investments, was seeking to attract some of the game's finest players away from the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour. However, Phil Mickelson now believes LIV is not only liked in the UK and USA in strong defense of the renegade circuit, and argues golf is fortunate for LIV's Saudi funding. But is he right? Mickelson has recently stated that he never did the interview with his biographer Alan Shipnuck, which created concern amongst those contemplating on joining LIV Golf. Mahid Al Saour, who is worth around £500 billion and is the CEO of the Golf Saudi Federation and Newcastle United director, has now exposed the harm Mickelson's statements did, as players were poised to walk away from the next season. Speaking, he remembered the chat he had with Public Investment Fund PIF chairman Yasser Al-Rumayyan. "They called me a scary mother effer," Saour added. "We don't murder homosexuals. I'll simply tell you that. I contacted the boss, Rumayyan. I said, everybody's walking away. Do you want to do it or not?" Rumayyan replied, "Grab the biggest mediocres, get the 10 that we have, get you and I, and let's go play for $25 million. Rumayyan decided to move forward and announced the LIV Golf launch immediately. Mickelson was accused of hypocrisy after going back on his statements when he joined the Saudi-backed Rebel Tour ahead of their maiden event in St. Albans in June. However, it was only after he'd taken a considerable vacation from the sport, allowing tempers to cool. It looked as if Mickelson was split between LIV Golf and the PGA circuit during his February interview, while condemning the conventional tour as manipulative and coercive. However, 4 months and 6 LIV tournaments in, the former Masters and PGA Championship champion denies making the statements in February, claiming he never did an interview with Shipnuck and is a huge backer of the Rebel Series. Shipnuck also wasn't the only target of Mickelson's comments, with the 52-year-old 6-time major winner saying that he was glad he was on the winning side of the ongoing battle between LIV and the PGA Tour, and that he sees the PGA Tour trending downward. "I think going forward you have to pick a side," Mickelson said. "You have to decide the side you believe is going to be successful. And I genuinely feel that I'm on the winning side of how things are going to change and form in the next few years for professional golf. We play against a lot of the greatest players in the world on LIV, and there are a lot of the top players in the world on the PGA Tour. And unless both sides get down and have a dialogue and figure things out, both sides are going to continue to alter and evolve. And I see LIV Golf growing forward. I see the PGA Tour falling lower, and I love the side that I'm on." And yeah, that's about it for this episode. We'll see you again in the next one.